Hi everyone! Today we're going to be doing multiple looks with the new 66.5 degree bundle by Clionadh Cosmetics. Not gonna lie, I started filming this already. I filmed 2 looks, I wasn't happy with them, I was having some issues with some of the shadows, and I just need to play with this more, so I'm not going to be showing you that footage because number 1, I wasn't happy with the looks, and number 2, I was doing it as a voiceover because the neighbors were out with the leaf blower and it was the whole thing. So I'm scrapping those looks and I'm starting over, so we're going to be doing 3 in this video, but I definitely have some stuff that I want to say about some of the shadows in this palette because some are not performing as good as others, and I want to let you guys know so that if you were planning on maybe picking up singles from this collection, that maybe stay away from some of these, but I want to try out all of them now, so we're gonna just jump straight into look number 1. So I'm gonna start off by priming my eyes, and I got a new paint pot, and that's another reason why I wasn't really enjoying the 2 looks I already filmed, because I was using my other paint pot and it was just giving me a hard time, and so I don't know if it was necessarily the shadows, although I definitely feel like some of these shadows are not as good as others, but I mean that happens pretty much with any palette, so I just want to make sure that I really give these shadows a fair chance and that I really try out all of them on a base that I know I love. And this is kind of why I've been avoiding buying big palettes in the first place, because reviewing a big palette is just so much more work than reviewing like a 9-pan palette. Like I can do 3 looks and know exactly how I feel about every single shade in the palette if I do 3 looks with them. And with this, I feel like 3 looks is simply just not enough to get a good review out. So from now on, I probably will not be buying any bundles or palettes that have 24 colors in them because it's just too much, especially if I'm going to review it. So I'm gonna probably stick to smaller palettes, and I also like the fact that smaller palettes kind of challenges me more because there's just not that many color combinations that you can do with a 9-pan palette that you can with a 24. So I don't know, there's something to me about being restricted with eyeshadows that makes me want to figure them out more. Let me know if you're the same way or if you like having like all the options in one palette, because I definitely prefer smaller color stories. And I feel like this is going to be a long video because I have already been rambling and I haven't even started putting on eyeshadow yet. And that's very unlike me, so let's get into putting some shadows on my eyes. So I think I want to do a smoky eye today, and I'm first going to take this shade right here and I'm going to put that in my crease, and then to blend it out I'm going to go in with this. Again, I'll be putting up the names on the colors on the screen for you as I'm working with them because I don't want to take these out of the magnetic palette because I will end up digging my fingers into them and destroying them all, so we're going to try to avoid that today. And so I'm going to start off by packing this darkest of the purple shades into my crease, and I'm going to keep this low enough down that I can go in with the lighter of the purples to blend this out with. And this palette does have a lot of kick up in the pan. My shadow is super powdery in the pan after I dip my brush into it, and I don't swirl it, I gently tap it. So the formula on these mattes is very reminiscent of the subculture in my opinion, which, don't get me wrong, I love that palette, so I just wanted to put that out there in case some of you don't like those kind of shadows. You might not like this formula. But this shadow is so beautiful, I love this color. And as you can see, I'm not pulling this all the way into my inner corner because I am going to have quite a bit of a blown out inner corner, and I love doing that when I do smoky eyes. I'm also going to take the same shade under my lower lash line. I want this look to be pretty easy. So I'm next going to dip into this lighter of the purple shades, which they look very similar in the pan, but I'm pretty sure on the eyes they're going to be different because this is for sure more of a pastel color. And I had some people wanting me to do comparisons between the pastels in this to the pastels in the Creepy Cute palette, and I'll do that at the end of the video, so if you just want to skip to the review portion of this, I will leave a timestamp on the screen for you so you can just skip over all of these looks if you don't care to watch them. And I'm just using the shade right on top of where the edge of what I just put down is, and using this to blend this upwards. And I can't really see much of a difference between these 2 shades. Do you see what's happening on this side? Like right here, after I put down the shadow, it's kind of oxidizing in my crease here and it's looking a lot darker. It's almost turning into sort of a blue shade, and I don't know why it's doing this. Like I definitely feel like these shadows would be better on top of a white base, but you guys know I don't really like to work on a white base, so that's just not something that I'm willing to do in order to make shadows work. I'm also taking the same shade underneath my eye and it's going to start blending out the first shade that I put down. And I'm just diffusing this out. I'm not really making like a sharp wing or anything, I'm just sort of fading it out into nothing. And so from my experience with these two colors now, this one seems to be more of a cool tone purple, whereas the first one that I put in my crease seemed to be a bit more of a warm tone purple, which could be why these are sort of clashing and making a bit of a blue in the transition. I'm not really sure why this is happening, but yeah, I mean it is, so I can't really hide it. And I want to swatch these colors next to each other so you guys can see what I mean. So this is the first shade that I put down, and this is definitely like more of a warm tone purple. And this is the last shade, and you can see on my arm that this shade is for sure a lot lighter. I don't know if you can even see that because I was holding my arm up too low, but this shade is the one that I used to blend out the first one, and as you can see, it kind of made a bit of like a darker crease, and I have no idea why that happened. And I feel like it was because I started blending out this shade for whatever reason. I don't know, it just doesn't look like it's happening on my arm, but you know, maybe these two shades just aren't the best to use together. So I'm trying to figure out which color I want to put on top of my eye. Now, I definitely could go in with this purple shade right here, and I did try this in one of the looks that I filmed, but I'm not going to post it, but I will talk about this shade when I get to the end of the video. So I want to try a different shade right now, and I think I'm going to go with this one. I think that could be really pretty, and that is this duochrome right here. So I'm going to take that on a flat brush, and I'm going to spray this and then plop it onto my lid. And these two shimmers that I just mentioned are very crumbly in a pan. They're extremely soft, and I feel like this shade is going to be very foiled, and you can already tell just by putting this on my eye. This reminds me a lot of the shade that was in the Jeffree Star Alien palette. I will see if I can do some swatches between these two in the end as well. And I'm just going over my main part of my lid now, and I will blend this into the purple after, but first I just want to cover the main part of my eyelid. And I definitely could have put that first purple on my whole lid before going in with this, but I decided not to because I want to see how much coverage this shadow has, and it definitely looks to be very opaque, and it's extremely pretty. I don't know if you can see the shift in the shadow, it's beautiful. Again, I'm leaving a bit of room just like right in the inner fourth or so of my eye, so that when I go in with my inner corner highlight, I can really make it pop. And actually this is blending into the purple really nicely in the crease. I'm using a MAC 242 brush to do this with, and this is my favorite because I feel like I can kind of blend with this as well as pack, because it is a little bit fluffy on the top, but not so much that it's a blending brush or anything. If you want to check out the video I did telling you all about my favorite brushes, I will link that in the corner for you, because I pretty much mentioned all the brushes that I use on a daily basis, and sometimes I forget to mention what I'm using in my videos, so that might be helpful. So I'm not a huge fan of how my transition is looking, so I'm going to go back in with that first purple that we put down, which was more of the warm tone purple. And I want you to just look at my palette right now. This is the one I just dipped into, and you can see how dusty this is. There's a lot of powder there. And I'm going to use this to kind of blend out what I just put down, and I'm also going to pretty much cover up that second shade that I put down because I don't want there to be that blue kind of a streak in my crease. So I'm just going to be running this a little bit higher up. Alright, so I feel like since the shade that I have on my lid definitely has a bit of a green shift to it, I want to go in with green in my inner corner, so I'm going to go in with this one right here. Oh, that's beautiful. So I'm going to be placing this right in my inner corner as well as down onto my bottom lash line, meeting it up with the purple. And I'm also going to be pulling it up onto my lid quite a bit to meet it up with the shadows that I have here. And this is my favorite brush to do this with, and it is the Morphe M149 brush. I don't think I've seen a brush like this anywhere else. So this is going to be it for the shadows, and in my waterline I also want to put some purple, so I'm going to use Delirious by Urban Decay. And then to finish off, I'm going to put on some mascara and eyeliner. I'll come back and we can put on a lipstick. Alright, so here is the eye look all complete. I like how this turned out. I feel like I could have gotten the exact same look with the Jeffree Star Alien palette, which is kind of funny because this palette doesn't really look like his palette at all. But for my lipstick today, I kind of want to use a red, and I feel like a red is always going to look good when I have red hair because they kind of match. So regardless of the eye look, I can always rock a red lipstick now. And this is by Suva Beauty. I got this in a box. I think it was a BoxyCharm. It could have been my Try Beauty box, I'm not sure. This is in the shade Besharam or Besharam. I can never say names of anything, so please excuse that. So this lipstick application is nowhere near perfect. I'm sure it looks a lot better on camera than it does in the mirror, like an inch in front of me. But regardless, this is going to be the final look, and I think we should just get into look number 2 so this video doesn't end up being way too long. Alright, let's get into the second look with this beautiful bundle. I think for today's look I want to do a blue and green look because obviously looking at this palette, that's kind of what it's asking for. So what I want to do is I want to put 2 colors to my crease, and that is going to be the blue shade and the green shade. And I will start off by taking this matte green down here and putting it into my first half of my crease with my Morphe E36 brush. So I'll be packing this about halfway across. And this right here is probably one of my favorite mattes in this palette because this green is really, really good. Next up, I'm going into this beautiful blue, and I'll be putting that on the outer part of my crease. Still using the same brush. And I rarely use different brushes when I do my eye looks. I have a towel in front of me and I wipe it off on my towel and we're good. Honestly, even if it looks like there's a little bit of residue left on your brush, if you wipe it off, like most of that is going to come off, which is not really going to make a difference when you put it on your eyes. I'm also going to connect this to my lid. And since I don't have a plan for what I want to do on my lower lash line yet, I'm just going to leave it like this, leave it open in case I want to put something else down there. And I gotta say that this shade right here is having a bit of a hard time sticking to my eye. And I found the same to be true with the neon lime green shade. I think this just kind of happens with neons and pastels a lot, that they're just so hard to formulate that when you get them pigmented, they really don't want to build. So you need to really just pack them on, and whatever ends up sticking to your eyeshadow primer is what's going to stay. If you go in with a brush and you start dusting anything away, whatever is like left on top is just going to fly off. But I did manage to build this up quite nicely, and that's probably because I didn't set my eyeshadow primer, which I never do, but I find that like in my outer corner here, if I go in with just a little bit, that isn't enough, and then I try to go in with more, like it's just looking a little bit patchy. So a lot of these mattes are not my favorite mattes that I've ever worked with, and I'm sure that's just because these are really hard shadows to make. But we're gonna move on. So for my outer corner, I'm gonna go in with this shimmery dark blue shade down here, and I'm gonna pack that on the outer corner. And I'm going to try to blend this into my crease and into my wing out here, if you will. And the shade is beautiful. I'm loving the shimmers in this palette. There's a few that are more like satins I don't like as much, but that's just because I don't like satins. But all the shimmers are so beautiful, and they're so reflective, and they have so much like glitter particles in it. And you guys know how I feel about glitter. It just makes me so happy. So I'm just using the edge of my MAC 242 brush here to kind of blend this into my crease, just to get a bit of a smoother transition. So we're gonna leave it like this. And I think to transition over to the green and just to layer it right in the middle here, I'm gonna go in with this duochrome. And I think this is going to be a beautiful transition because it's got like a blue-green shift to it. So let's try that. And I'm just going to put that right in the middle. And I just realized I used this in my previous look too, but oh well. I just really like this shade. I think this is so beautiful. And to be fair, my first look I filmed probably 2 weeks ago, so I didn't really remember what I used until I looked back at the picture before I started filming this. So, I mean, I should have realized that I did use the shade, but I wanted to use it again because this is just so pretty. And I also want to show that you can make more darker looks with this palette, even though it looks like a lot of the shades in the palette are very light, but you can definitely make more darker looks if you want to as well, if you just use the darker shimmery shades. Alright, and for the last part of my lid, I'm going to go in with this shimmery green shade right here, which is more of a lighter green that I feel like is going to match up better with the green that I have in the crease. And I want to mention that a lot of the shimmers are very, very loosely packed and they're very crumbly, so I couldn't imagine like not spraying my brush before going in with these because I feel like I would be getting them all over my face and they would be all over the place. You could obviously use glitter glue if you wanted to because that would fix the problem as well, but I just find that picking it up on my brush is a lot easier when I spray my brush first. And I think I'm actually going to go in with another shade like in between the ones that I just put down to kind of make a better transition, but I'm going to put down this shade first. Alright, so still using the same brush, I'm going to dip into this green here and see if I can put that right in between the two shades that I just put down. And I'm not going to take a lot of this, I'm just going to do enough to make a bit of a smoother transition. And I think that's looking a lot better. I just felt like the other green was just a little bit too light. So what do we think of putting this on the lower lash line? This purple is literally stunning. It does have a lot of fallout and a lot of glitter in it, so I feel like putting it on my lower lash line might be a safer choice than trying to pack it all over my lid, because I have tried that once and that kind of ended up with purple all over my face. So let's try to put this on my lower lash line. And the shape that I'm talking about is of course this one. I know I forgot to mention it. Alright, let's try to not make a mess here. Oh my god, do you see how pretty that is? And I know I said I was going to do a green and blue look, and here I am putting purple on my lower lash line. That's just what happens. I feel like this happens every single time. I always have a plan, and then the plan ends up not being the plan in the end anyway. I could just swim in this purple. For my inner corner, I'm going to go in with this kind of light champagne shade. So my camera decided to shut off like it always does after 30 minutes of filming, and I just took it upon myself to put on some liner mascara since I was already done with my look and I didn't feel like turning back on the camera again just to turn it back off so I could go put this on. So I think for lipstick today I want to go with a red, because I feel like with my red hair I can use red with pretty much anything and it actually matches, whereas if I had like brown hair right now I don't think I would use a red lipstick with this look, but since I do have red hair, I'm going to go with the red, and I'm going to use one from OFRA that I got at IMATS, and this is Vermillion. This is one of the lipsticks that was in the set that was made by the, what the hell is her name? Francesca Tollett, I think that's her name. She's the one who collaborated with OFRA to make the eyeshadow palette that I didn't end up liking. So let's see if I end up liking the lipstick. Oh, I love that color. This lipstick is actually so beautiful, and I really like how this goes with the look too. So this is going to be the completed look of look number 2. I am really happy with how this turned out. I think this looks really pretty, and I don't know, I just feel pretty, you know? There's something about these colors that are more kind of like a grown-up color scheme. I don't know, like I don't feel like they're super in your face even though they're very beautiful and very impactful, but there's something about them that looks a bit more elegant. Maybe it's the lipstick that's with it, I don't know, but let's get into look number 3. Alright, it's time for the third look, and today I want to work with some shadows that I feel like I'll be regretting. So I really want to use this neon green. I really wish that you could see how neon this actually is on camera, but you really can't. But I have tried to use this color before when I wasn't filming and it did not end well. I had the same problem with this shadow as I did with the neon pigments that I tried from Be Elegant. And that was not good. Basically, I could not get it to stick onto my eyelids at all unless it was the only shadow that I used. As soon as I went in with anything else, like the shadow just like disappeared. So we're gonna try to do a smoky eye today using all mattes, and I want to first go in with this one and pack this into my crease, and then for my lid, I'm gonna go in with this other kind of turquoisey color. This shade is so unique and I really want to use that again, but I don't think I'll be having much issues with that. So we're gonna start off with the neon, and I've obviously not set my primer, and I'm just going to go straight in and pack on as much of this color as I possibly can. And you will see upon first application that it looks really, really nice and pigmented, but just wait until I go in and kind of start trying to blend this out. And I'm really going to go heavy on this and get on as much as I can on my eyes. But don't get excited yet, because I know this looks awesome. And I want this to go up a little bit higher, so I'm going to keep trying to pack this on. And I really hope I don't have any problems with the shadow today, because I really want this to work. So now you can see I pretty much have on as much as I'm able to get onto one eye here. And I'm going to just gently kind of start blending this upwards. And I really hope I'm wrong, like I hope I'm able to get the shadow to work. And I mean, so far it's doing okay. Actually, it's probably doing better than okay. This is better than last time I tried this. Alright, so far this is looking pretty good, and this is kind of where I feel like things are going to go downhill. So I'm going to take that other shade that I was talking about right here, and I'm taking my MAC 242 brush, which I love for packing on matte shadows on my lid, and I'm literally going to just pack this all over, and I'm really curious to see how this is going to blend into the other shadow. And this one right here is probably my favorite matte in this palette. I absolutely love this so much. It's such a unique shade. Okay, so I've packed it on now as high up as I want to go with this. And it's looking nice and opaque everywhere. I do have quite a bit of fallout though, which, I mean, that happens when you go in with a lot of a matte shade. And I'm going to try to go in with a very small flimsy brush, and this is the Sigma E36. And I'm just going to work on kind of blending this darker shade upwards into the neon. And you can already see like right here that something is lifting, and I don't really know why this is happening. And I feel like as soon as I went in with this brush, like now a lot of the shadow that I have on my lid even is kind of going away, and it's not at all as vibrant as it was when I put it down. Like you can see that me just like running my brush over this is really removing a lot of the pigment. And whatever is left is like kind of patchy, and I don't like that. So the shade that I just packed on obviously works a lot better in the crease than it does packed all over the lid. And I don't like how this is looking. And that's how I feel like both of these shades are kind of performing when you try to go in with them on your lid. As a crease shade, it works a lot better. And this foundation that I'm trying out is looking absolutely terrible. Oh my god. Yeah, I don't want to talk about that. And so I know I said this shade on my lid was one of my favorites in this palette. I might take that back because I haven't actually tried it on my lid before. I've only tried it in my crease or like as a small accent like in my inner corner or on the lower lash line, but as a lid shade it's not looking good. I hope you can see that there's a crack here. I'm gonna try to go in with a bit more, but I really don't feel like that is going to help all that much. And I can tell that it's still just really patchy and really dry looking. Like it just looks very chalky even on the eyes. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to use some glitter glue. I know you're not supposed to use glitter glue with a matte shadow, but I've seen Anya do this before, so I want to try it myself and see if maybe it works. And I'm using the Too Faced glitter glue, and I'm just going to pack this all over my eye. And I have a bad feeling about this, you guys. Okay, let's try this again. Again, upon first application, it's looking really nice. It's looking opaque. Don't have any creasing or anything like that. And now let's try to blend just very gently right in my crease. And now I just seem to have a sharp line where the glitter glue stopped and the other mattes met. So yeah, I'm not sure about this. I'm gonna go in with a bit more of that glitter glue just into my crease. And then use that fluffy brush to kind of try to pack this on top. Yeah, I don't like how this is looking. I'm gonna try to do the same thing without the glitter glue on the other eye and see if it happens again. So this eye is definitely not looking as vibrant for whatever reason. And I can already tell I'm having patchiness problems here. I'm not sure if you can see that, but there's definitely spots where the shadow is just not sticking. And I mean, you guys can tell on camera that this is just not looking that great. I don't know if my brightness is up too high. Yeah, you can see a huge difference on this eye than compared to this eye. I'm gonna go in with the glitter glue on this side as well, just so we can even it out. And this is exactly why it is so important to not call a first impression review, because when I first tried out this shade, I absolutely loved it, and now the second time I'm going in and trying a different method of applying it, I don't like it as much anymore. And I'm going to show you some real close-ups here so you can really see how bad this is looking. You can clearly see like how uneven and patchy and just not good this is. So what I'm going to do to save this, which I figured I was going to have to go in with a shimmer anyway, I'm going to go in with this one right here, and I'm going to spray that and put it all over my lid. Alright, Alright, I'm gonna try again to go in with this shade. I probably shouldn't be doing this, but I'm gonna try to just kind of blend out the edge here where I put down the shimmer, and also just see if I can get this to stick at all. And I know I'm covering up the first shade that I put down, but that's okay. And it's definitely looking a lot better in the crease than it does on the lid. And I don't know what the deal about these neon kind of shadows is, that none of them seem to really want to lay down very opaquely over like a large area, but when you put them in a crease, I guess the only shade, it seems to do fine. I think for my lower lash line, I want to do something blue, so I'm first going in with the matte blue shade, and I want to see if this one is going to do well on the lower lash line. So let's first pack this on, and then we'll go in and blend it out after. And this is probably the matte shade that I had the easiest time working with. Let me try to blend the edge here. I'm also just going to gently wing this out. So just to make this shadow pop a little bit more, I'm going to go in with the shimmery blue shade, which is pretty much the same as the matte. Alright, so I mean, I really like how this is looking so far. It just took a lot for me to get here, and it wasn't as easy as I would like for it to be. But for my inner corner, I'm going to go in with this shade right here. Alright, so this is going to be it for the shadows. I'm going to go put something in my waterline, put on some liner mascara, then I'll be back, and then we can talk a little bit more about this palette. I also want to show you some comparison swatches with the other palettes I have to show you maybe some better options that you might want to consider getting. Okay, so eyes are done. My wings got a bit out of hand. I don't know how I feel about it. For lips, I think we might as well just go all out, and I want to use this one by Lancrime. It's called Suedeberry, and it's kind of like a neon peach. So that's really pretty, I like that a lot. So what I want to do next is I want to do some swatches of the Creepy Cute palette by Clionadh Cosmetics. And I want to see how these stack up against the Clionadh shadows. So I'm first going to swatch the blue. And so this first one is going to be the Clionadh shadow. And this is the one from the Creepy Cute palette. So you can see they're quite different. Next, let's do the lime green in the Clionadh bundle. So this is Clionadh. And this shadow just does not swatch very well. And underneath we have the Clionadh Cosmetics green. So obviously these are very, very different. And right under that I'm going to go in with the Clionadh one. And this is the one that I tried to pack all over my lid that miserably failed. Again, very, very different. And just to swatch the other matte green, I'm going to take this one as well. And so this one swatches pretty good. And before I take these off, and I want to swatch the purple ones as well, I'm going to do the wipe test because I'm very curious. So I have a towel here, and I'm just going to rub this over to see what sticks and what doesn't. Because this is going to give you a good idea of like the lasting power on the eyes. And you can see that this neon shade is completely gone. So this was the lime one in the Clionadh bundle. And the other ones seemed to kind of hold on, but I mean, this one basically disappeared. And I just realized I forgot to swatch this Creep It Real shade. The one that I did swatch was the blue shade and the green shade. I'm gonna swatch this as well, up against the one that I did put on the lid. So the top one is the Creepy Cute. And then this is Clionadh. So as you can see, these two are pretty similar. Not exact dupes, but I mean, they're in like the same color family, sort of. And also, if you were curious about the purples, I'm going to swatch this one. So we're just going to put the Creepy Cute one on top. And if you don't know how I feel about this palette, I absolutely love the Creepy Cute. I think the quality of this palette is amazing. And I have not had any of the same issues with that palette as I did with the Clionadh ones. So I'm now going to take the two purples, so this one and this one, and just swatch those underneath. So again, they're very, very different. They would go really nice together though. So as you could tell, there were no exact dupes in both of the palettes, which I know a lot of people have been like, oh, they look so similar. Yeah, they look kind of similar in the pan, but once you swatch them out and you have them next to each other, they really don't look that similar at all. And just for my own sake, I want to swatch this duochrome here, and I want to compare that to my Jeffree Star Alien palette. So here is the Clionadh one. And then here is my Jeffree Star Alien palette, which is just, it's huge. And I'm going to swatch that up against Probe. I feel like these are going to be pretty similar. Oh, I mean, they're pretty similar. So I want to say the Jeffree Star one has more of a teal shift or a blue shift, and the Clionadh one has more of a green shift. I'm not sure how well you can see the undertones with those, but I mean, they're definitely similar. So I guess those were all the swatch comparisons that I wanted to do. As for my review on this palette, I still honestly don't really feel like I'm ready to give a full review, but I'm going to give you my thoughts on it, and then you can take it for what it is, because I have no interest in doing another like 5 looks just to get a complete review of every single shade, because there are just so many shadows in here. But if I were to tell you which shadows that I personally recommend, I would tell you go for the shimmers over the mattes. The mattes are very tricky to work with, at least in my experience. Maybe you can make them work better for you than I can, but I probably don't want to tell people to run out and get these mattes, even though they are absolutely stunning in the pan. I just had a bit of a hard time with them, and I wouldn't want you guys to spend your money and not be happy with your purchase. So I would say definitely go for the shimmers. That's where they really shine, and I feel like all the shimmers in this palette are worth it. Now there are 2 shades that I am kind of iffy about, and that is this one right here. I just don't feel like the pigmentation on this shadow is really all that, and like I said, it is a satin, and I just don't really like satins. The same goes for this shade. This shade is a lot shinier though, so I don't hate this as much. Same with the other green, but honestly all the shimmers are really good. You do have to expect them to be kind of crumbly though, so just something to keep in mind if you are someone who's very messy and who like to do your base first. You might not like the shimmer formula that much, and also the mattes do have a lot of kick-ups. So again, I mean, do with this information what you want. I still think that this is an absolutely beautiful bundle, and I'm still really happy that I have them. I just kind of wish that there were other mattes in this palette, even though I feel like the mattes that are in here goes really well with the color story, but I do wish that there was a little bit more depth. But again, I feel like I can't really review this as a palette because they were made as singles. So these are all shadows that you can pick up individually, and they weren't necessarily meant to be like a palette, if that makes any sense. So as a palette, color story wise, there's definitely shades that I am missing, but for a eyeshadow bundle, I think it's a really nice collection, and I think that they did a really good job with most of these shades in this palette. So I think that was some of my thoughts. Yeah, let me know down below if you have any questions, and I will happily answer them. I don't think I'll be doing more looks with this palette alone, but I might pull out some of these shadows to work in with other looks that I'm doing. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. As always, I hope you enjoyed the video. I know it was very long, but some of you have complained that my videos have gotten too short. So here you go. Enjoy your long video. I hope you're all having a fantastic day. And if you are new to my channel, I would love it if you would consider subscribing, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.